We'll go ahead and get kicked off with our introductions. And Tom, because you're the new guy today, I'm going to have have you introduce yourself, where your instructor at, and kind of a little background on you.
Okay, well, Tom Wozniak here. I'm a diesel instructor at Madison Area Technical College in Madison, Wisconsin. I've been here part-time teaching since '96, full-time since '03. All that time always into the diesel program here. I'm also the executive director for the Post-Secondary Association of Skills USA for the whole state of Wisconsin. And I'm also the World Skills expert for the World Skills Team USA. So a lot of fun with that.
Which you had your student in the first session today,
Yep.
Who you coached at World Skills. Just real quick, if you want to give just a quick shout out to what he did and what you did in Russia. I thought that was a really cool story, and Ryan really didn't get to talk to it a whole lot. So I just wanted to maybe share a quick story on that.
Sure. So I had a particular student. He was from the Grand Rapids area in Michigan and was going to school at Ferris State and was a Skills USA member. And he had placed in the national conference at Skills USA in Louisville, Kentucky, and had an opportunity to then go ahead and earn a spot on the World Skills team. He went ahead and he earned his spot, and I worked with that particular individual for a little over a year. Trained him and was working with him to compete in the international event of World Skills. We got to travel to Russia back in August of 2019, and he got to compete. It's a 3.5-day competition going through 7 different stations. Each station was roughly about 3 to 3.5 hours long, and we competed against 18 other countries. And this was the diesel competition at World Skills is fairly new. This was only the 3rd time that it has ever ran at World Skills. We were there the first year, which was a demo contest at the time, so it only had 6 competitors. We took 5th that particular year. The year after that, in 2017, we did not send anybody for that particular contest. So this is the 2nd time we've actually sent somebody to this particular contest, and we took bronze medal. Actually, Ryan earned a bronze medal. So doing internationally and competing against 18 other countries, very happy about that. So what was great about it is that America, when you think of America, South America and North America won all 3. So South America took the gold, and Brazil and Canada took the silver, and Ryan took the bronze, and the difference between all 3 of those was only like 30 points.
Well, and the cool part, Tom, that I thought was just amazing from the competition, and there's some stories online that you can check it out, but he got to drape the American flag over his shoulders, and he walked out in front of Putin, like with the American flag on his shoulders,
Yep.
which is just nuts.
Yep, President Putin was there. The opening and closing ceremonies for this event, it blew me away. You know, any of you who are familiar with Skills USA and have ever seen Skills USA's opening and closing events, you know, you're running close to around 5,000 people in a major coliseum, and it's a pretty spectacular event. The first time you're there, you're kind of like, oh, wow, this is really neat. I just cannot describe opening and closing ceremonies at this event. The only thing that I can equate it to is the Olympics. I mean, it was just unbelievable. And for closing ceremonies, bringing these, you know, all of these hard working students up on stage, President Putin was there because President Putin actually addressed the whole arena, and we weren't 5,000 people, we were 45,000 people in the arena. So the arena that held the World Cup semifinals in Kazan, Russia, that was built specifically for the World Cup semifinals, the Kazan Arena. That's where we had opening and closing ceremonies. 45,000 people attended. So
that's crazy. That is
ridiculous.
Just so cool. So cool. All right. Now on to Cindy. Why don't you go ahead and introduce yourself, Cindy?
Sure. My name is Cindy Barlow. I'm with WyoTech out of Laramie, Wyoming. We are an automotive diesel collision refinishing school, and we've come back gangbusters. We have had a record enrollment this fall. Pretty excited about the things that we have going on at WyoTech and just the different opportunities that are before us right now. So excited to talk to you guys more today and to learn about what you have and how we can all work together to be able to move this forward to solve the issue that we continue to talk about and need to find a solution to.
Well, we appreciate you being here, Cindy.
Thanks for having me.
Buddy, tell us a little bit about yourself.
I'm Buddy Key. I'm the Career Services Coordinator for WyoTech down in Jacksonville, Florida. I've been in education of some form for 33 years now. I was a high school teacher, coach, and eventually became a principal before I came to working at the college level and now at WyoTech. What I do here is work with employers, work with really all the different divisions of our institution here, and to work with the employers and the students to help them have not just a job, but to help them to develop a career, to train them, coach them, to get them ready to go into that career. And it's a joy to be back today. Yesterday was exciting, beneficial. My LinkedIn just went crazy after I got off. But I have met some new folks all over the country. So WyoTech is here. We're excited and look forward to helping to raise the whole industry to another level.
Yeah, and that's the exciting part about what we're doing with Find a Wrench and WrenchWay, and really it was important to me that we have this conversation with tech schools, right? And I think oftentimes we go through a lot of conversations. We'll have conversations with the shops, sometimes with the techs, but then the trade schools are kind of pushed out and don't get part of that conversation. I think that's where it was really, really important to get you guys on board today. So I appreciate you being here. I want to start with you, Tom, just because you're the new guy on the panel today.
I got to figure it out.
I like picking on you anyways. Like I just think it's a good time. But tell us a little bit about enrollment with MATC right now. Where do you guys stand from a diesel program perspective?
Okay, well, our program right now, we actually have two programs here. We have an associate degree program and we have a vocational diploma program. Each one of those programs, we can take in 20 technicians each year. So both of those programs are what we call a 2-year program. So we've got a 9-month, and then there's a 3-month internship, and then we go another 9 months. So we kind of consider it a 2-year program. So we can take 20 students coming in every single year. Over the last couple of years, we've seen a little downturn in our enrollment. So being here in Wisconsin, there still is a lot of demand for technicians as they are across the United States. But what we've been finding is it's just a little bit harder to come in here and grab the enrollment that we need, those 20 students. And we just think the last couple of years might be a little anomaly. This year, obviously, it's because of the pandemic, which is a little bit lower for us. A lot of students, when we did at the time when we were opening up our this year, we didn't know if we were going to go 100% online, if we were going to go 100%, hands-on. We didn't know at the point in time. So a lot of students didn't want hands-on, or didn't want to go online. They wanted 100% hands-on. So some of those students made some other decisions, and maybe right now they are just kind of waiting until we are open 100% fully face-to-face.
Yeah, and I think it's good to have you on, Tom. I know we've had a lot of conversations over enrollment and some different things, and I think this is a really productive platform to talk about that more in depth. So looking forward to that. Cindy, you guys are obviously skyrocketing with enrollment right now. A little bit of a different situation just because it was kind of a dip and then you're on the way back up. But tell me a little bit about the diesel program enrollment as it relates to maybe the share as compared to automotive. Do you see kind of the same, the same enrollment trends with the automotive side as diesel, or with the diesel side as automotive?
Well, and as for the dip, I mean, we went from an acquisition from a privately held nonprofit school to now a privately held for-profit school. So that dip was, we actually was able to save the Laramie campus with 11 students, but we have come back and we now have full enrollment. Our diesel classes are full till next spring. We're actually taking sign-ons till this next spring.
Good.
Our governor did give us a variance that allowed us to go back to school May 11th. So we've been into full classes since May 11th, in and amongst this incredible pandemic that we're going through. We're mindful of that. We take the precautions that we need to take every single day to make sure that our students are safe. But yeah, we had a record sign-on this fall with just a little over 200 students. So now our total base is sitting at 500. It was never 500 with Corinthian colleges, so I'm actually very proud to say that recruitment matters. And you can't just recruit to just anybody. And I really hand it to Tom, because Skills USA is really a fundamental base. FFA is a fundamental base. Kids who are learning the trades every single day in their schooling, through welding, through absolutely everything that they do. And so it's important that we recruit to the right area and not just anybody. That's also going to provide for the longevity within the industry. So when we're recruiting to kids who are passionate about automotive, diesel, whatever it may be, it makes a big difference. And I believe it's going to make a better employee for the employer at the other side as well.
Well, and it's hard to share it in a limited time like we have, but the WyoTech story of everything that you guys have done over the last few years is honestly kind of inspirational, and everything that Jim's done. I was able to spend some time in Wyoming with you guys, and it is pretty cool to see how you kind of recaptured the essence of WyoTech and have done a really good job with it. So thank you for joining us. Buddy, how about you? How does diesel, I mean, I know you guys were, again, it's kind of a different view of this, as you guys are a fairly new school that is growing, but how do you see the diesel side?
The diesel side is growing. A couple of reasons for that. One, we have added 2 new programs that we just kicked off about 3 weeks ago here. Been in the making now for over a year, and we offer the associate's degree. It's a 21-month program, and the new programs are marine diesel, and we're in Florida. So marine diesel and RV technician, that class filled up extremely quickly. And also we have, again in Florida, we have a HVAC and refrigeration program, 21-month program that's taken off for a while. Those programs both filled up very quickly here, and we're already starting more for enrolling more for January. But the diesel side of it is just constantly growing in this area. I talk to different truck companies, transporters. We talk to heavy construction. There's all types of infrastructure that's taking place right now, and it never slows down. And we're getting more and more folks in our area, and we are in a good area as far as the climate and things like that, that we've gotten a lot of positive feedback from that, and that's really the big thing there. And I agree so much with Cindy on the recruitment matters. And one of the things that our recruiting does, we have a phenomenal high school recruiting program and a great leader for that team, and they've been kind of handcuffed lately with students not in school, virtual school, but they have really reached out to showing up at football games on Friday night when they're allowed, and just different activities with all the social distancing, and we're still keeping our name out front, and that's vital, that recruiting aspect, as well as I really liked what Cindy said about you recruit everybody, not just your students graduating from high school, but we have the military connections. We have a big military presence here in Northeast Florida, reaching out to that. We have our veterans group here in the school. And so those things, all of it contributes. It's not a one-person show. There's so many different facets of our team and our staff, from our leadership all the way down. Everybody here is a recruiter. Everybody here is sharing what the cause, the purpose, and the mission of WyoTech is, and because of that, we feel like that and the new programs is why we're having the success we are right now.
And you guys are doing a great job, buddy. I think the world of what you guys are doing. Let's get into the actual technicians themselves, okay? And Tom, I'll go back to you here on this one, but what do you see, or what is your feeling on new technicians and the expectations of those new technicians when they come out into the workforce, right? So one of the things that came up in the Tech Roundtable was the gap between education and between what the real world is, right? And so when a new technician goes in, sometimes I think the feeling is maybe the expectations are too high. Are you seeing anything? I know you're talking to all kinds of different employers. Do you see what is that expectation and what should it be?
Well, we do have a very active advisory committee. Being a state-run institution, we are required to have an active industry advisory committee. And when we take a look at other programs within our college here and their advisory committees, they don't have quite the amount of, shall we say, partners to their program. We've got over 75 industry partners to our program, which is really nice. Jay, you're one of them, you know that. And so we're required to have advisory committee meetings. We are required to open up our curriculum to the industry and show them our curriculum. They're the ones that actually vote on our curriculum changes and things of that through our advisory committee. And having a very active advisory committee is one of the keys to, you know, our program and being very current. So since we have such an active advisory committee, we hear from them all the time, you know, what they actually want out of a technician, and we try to you know, give what our advisory committee is asking for. So if our advisory committee is asking for a technician that's more rounded in after treatments, you know, we're going to come up with a course to add into our diesel program. Instead of just talking about after treatment, we're going to have an actual full course of after treatment. So we actually get to work with our industry partners throughout there and actually curtail our curriculum to what they want. And that's one of the nice things about here. As far as other colleges around the area, or I should say around our state, if they have an active advisory committee, I don't know whether that is. Now, as far as what you're asking about, is there an actual gap? What I think personally, in talking with our advisory committee, because I know that they have asked a lot of questions too, that, hey, we want these students to know this, we want these students to know that, we want these students to learn this. And then it's kind of like, we only have so many hours in our program. And if you want to keep adding all of this stuff that this student, this entry-level student is going to know, we're going to have to remove something out of the program. So what do you want taken out of our program so we can add this? Well, we don't want you to take anything out. Well, it's there's not enough hours in the day to do this. Do you want to add another year? Oh, no. We want you to actually cut your 2-year program down to 1 year. But yet we still want you to cover all of this stuff. And it's like, okay, help us understand this, because, you know, we're really trying to put forth a quality product. You know, that's what we think of as a quality product. You know, we take a look at our students, and yes, our students are paying tuition into our program. We are also taxpayer funded. I mean, a good portion of our dollars comes from our taxpayers within our district. So the student's only paying a portion of his or her tuition here. But ultimately, when we take a look at who our customer is, our customers are the shops that are, you know, hiring our product, and we're trying to put forth the best product possible. Because we want to make sure that our customers, our people who are hiring these technicians, they keep coming back year after year after year. And I mean, you look around the southern Wisconsin area, and there is a lot of Madison Area Technical College graduates that not only are working in industry, but have grown within industry and now are actually people who are hiring. So a lot of Madison College graduates sit on our advisory board because they are now the service managers or the dealer principals. And it's good to see former graduates coming back and giving back to our program.
Yeah, I think so too. And you do have a really, really strong industrial connection, or just really well connected with us in industry, which I think is a testament to what you guys do there, Tom, and really how proactive you are with your programs and keeping your advisory board front and center. And you do a great job at that. Buddy, do you have any of those similar concerns as far as trying to fit a whole bunch of curriculum into a short box that makes it a little tougher for that transition?
Absolutely, and as the gentleman just said, the program advisory committee, which we have because we're an accredited school, even though we're a private not-for-profit school, you have to have those standards. And our program advisory committees are amazing, and they're continually growing. People wanting to get involved with the schools are seeing the value. We're able to give them a value of them being involved. Getting to the curriculum, absolutely. They want to see all the new technology put in, but they don't want nothing really taken out, and they want you to condense it down. That's the American dream of most dealers, and whether it's in trucking, diesel, or auto. And that is something we have to be very careful of, and having them on site is very helpful. So what we have started doing is, with the program advisory committee, we're inviting them to come out on a day when the students are here, get involved, come see the classes, see how particular classes are functioning, and they get an idea. They go, oh wow, we did not know it was this in depth to teach. There's a difference in having a tech that's experienced in the workplace, able to do a particular job and get it turned over quick. But in the schoolhouse, it's a whole different thing of teaching a small class even, or just teaching a half a dozen students, teaching them that, getting them, testing them on that, making sure they're qualified, getting them certified in that, versus in the marketplace. And so we've had several of our program advisory committee members come along and say, wow, man, we can't sacrifice that. We've got to stay with it. And then they have started picking up. We have several relationships that we see them continuing the education, and they're ramping up their online education. So when an employee joins them, they're just continuing to match up what we're doing on campus. And that is all because of what we're doing by keeping them involved and keeping them on campus. We want our program advisory committee people to hang out with us all they can, and it keeps them here. It keeps them plugged in, because you have to look at it, Jay, from really two perspectives. One, from the school's perspective of learning and teaching in the schoolhouse, and then the application of that with the tech in the workplace. Total two different dynamics.
Yeah, I agree. That's a great point, buddy. Cindy, you have kind of the unique perspective from talking to industry constantly, right? You're always engaged with industry. What is your opinion of that? And kind of maybe going on what Buddy and Tom both said in terms of the concern of, trying to stuff a lot into a little bit of time, but then having these people prepared and managing expectations for those students once they get out into the real world.
It's actually kind of interesting to me, because we have two different models here. Ours being privately held. I mean, we're 1,440 hours per discipline, so we're very concentrated. We're 9 months. We are that 9-month college that you can come out with your associate's degree. It's very aggressive, and it's definitely focused on quality. The one thing that I'd like to pull back to in your question is that gap. And I listened to your text this morning, and that was really interesting to me, because they're feeling like they're being tossed out to the wolves in a sense. And not that industry is the wolf, but it's that in between the education and what's being provided. And I can tell you by the quality of instructors that we have, and just like Tom here, when we're instructing people and students like he's instructing, and Tom, I'm impressed. I seen that young man this morning, and he's impressive. But when they're going out into industry, and then they're feeling like they're not quite getting there, and I think that that's why the conversation with internships is important. For WyoTech, that's tough, because we're 9 months. We're 8.5 hours in the shop every single day until they're done. And so we're uniquely different in that regard, and I'm proud of that. But we all have different models that we have to sustain ourselves with, and to be respected. But we have to do more, I think, in a nurturing side on the expectation to industry, receiving these techs into their shop floors and being nurturing to the concepts of what they've been taught in the classroom, in the shops, to be able to be supportive so that they learn and grow more. Because let's face it, they're not master techs coming out of any tech school, a 2-year or a 9-month school. And so may we ever be mindful that we need to encourage industry to continue the education. It's a beginning education. It's not a final education. And may we nurture that forward to be able to produce the best techs later on, so that they don't get frustrated and want to get out of the industry. They've got a strong foundation. May we focus more on the foundation of growing them when we get them, to be able to bring them past that point, and then their rate of return on the investment of that student is going to be much greater. And I think that that's a point that we're missing at times in our conversations, and that we need to encourage those cultures to grow within the shop floor.
Cindy, you hit on a point there that I just think is amazing from the standpoint of that first year or two with a new technician is so important. And that's their time to gain confidence. That's their time to really start to understand whether they want to be in the industry or not. You know, I think everybody goes into it saying, hey, this is cool. I can go work on trucks or equipment and this big stuff. And once they get there, it's like, oh my goodness, this stuff is huge. Like, so do you see employers maybe, you know, we talked about it in the manager roundtable today, the onboarding piece and how when you're looking for techs, it's so important to bring them on in a really, really nice manner. Are we improving as an industry? And Cindy, I'll start with you on this one, because are we improving on an industry in terms of how we're getting them in the door? So when I say that, how we're treating them, and it's not just like, hey, go back and work with Bill, he'll take care of you, but more of a, here's a process on how we're going to bring you into the fold.
I'm one of those analogy thinkers, so I don't know how many in your audience are fly fishermen, but if they look at how you tie a fly, all right, you go out and you pull the hackle and you tie it on the hook and you make it look shiny so that the fish will bite. And I think that it's important that not only do and I heard it throughout your morning, Jay, with different industry partners talking about this, is that you need to transparently represent yourself to what you have to offer, have fair expectations of where they're going to begin. Don't just tie on the shiny, you know, little hackle so that it looks shiny and they bite, for whether it's tuition reimbursement program or whether it's the tools, and albeit the brand, whether it's Snap-on or one other one, whatever the case may be. But may we ever be very diligent in representing ourselves fairly and what the student, the adult can expect going forward. And I think that that's going to create a sense of longevity within their environments. So often I hear it's the tech school. Well, the tech school produced this kid that just didn't really measure up. Well, all three of us on here, I'm sure, will attest today that we see the potential. We see that they all have the ability within themselves. And we either pick a person up and we dust them off and we push them forward and we encourage them, whether it be in high school, grade school, whatever it is, and now on the shop floor or whatever their profession chooses to be. But we either push them forward or we snuff them out. And sometimes we're our own worst enemy in that. So we need to find reasons. We see it in politics today, but let's not go down that road. We have to find reasons to encourage and to pick up and to move forward. And let's focus on those positives that help us to do that. I don't care if it's one tech school to another, but let's look at the positives to be able to create an environment of growth and not a stifling environment where we're taking away the oxygen to make that happen.
Tom, do you see, are we candid enough with maybe when we're going out in high schools recruiting, say, a potential student to come into our programs, are we candid enough with them to show them what the true picture is as compared to the, well, you go out, and I think a common misperception that I see with tech students is, I'm going to go out and earn $60,000 right out of the gate, and I'm going to be, you know, like in good shape. And one, I think that sets unrealistic expectations from the standpoint of pay. But then two, I think it puts undue pressure on them when they get into a shop, because maybe their salary is starting a little bit higher than what it used to. Give me an idea of how candidly we talk to these students and how we really get to know if this is a truly good industry for them.
Well, I can tell you for a fact that we are extremely candid with these students. So we paint a picture not only of the industry, of what this industry actually is and what this industry has to offer. So, I mean, when I'm out there, this industry for me has done a fantastic job for me, but I've worked very hard to get where I'm at. And just like, you know, all of us panelists here, we've worked very hard to get where we are at. Nothing was given to us. We've always earned it. And we always talk about that you need to go out and you need to earn it. And I think a lot of students coming in, especially the younger ones coming in, they think that, hey, this is going to be easy. This is going to be just like shop class in high school. And I'm going to come in here and get an easy A. And Jay, like you're saying too, you know, their expectations is I'm going to come in here, I'm going to buy the biggest Snap-on toolbox I can have. I've got this job now, I'm going to buy the brand new diesel pickup truck. And, you know, I'm going to go out and get this nice fancy apartment. And all of a sudden, well, now my salary doesn't match all the debt that I have. And I think they get themselves into a trap that way, even though we coach them on a lot of life skills. And that's one of the biggest things, is coaching these, you know, on a lot of life skills. And we are not only just educators to educate them in this industry. Believe it or not, you know, we kind of are a little bit of a parent once in a while too, you know, and saying, hey, you got to think about this. You don't need the biggest Snap-on toolbox. You don't need this fancy, you know, diesel pickup truck and one that's only 1 or 2 years old, you know, especially, are you going to even tow anything with it? Or is it just the back end and think it looks cool rolling coal, you know, knowing that you have a DPF and you can't make it go black. So, I mean, it's just, these are the things when you start dealing with students, is just trying to, I don't want to say be the adult in the room, but kind of give them life lessons and guidance. And I know a lot of kids kind of hear that. And I know if Ryan's on listening, I mean, he heard me say this all the time. And one thing that I tell my kids, my personal kids, I haven't told my students this yet. I take that back. I did tell one group of students this. Hey guys, I was your age once. You've never been mine. You know, who's got the experience here? So,
hey, Tom, I'm going to remember that, because I'm going to use that against you next time I see you. You've been my age, but I've never been your age.
Jay, you know, I've been your age. You've never been mine. Okay.
Buddy, I want to go to you and talk to you, because I think, to expand upon what Tom just said, you guys do a really cool thing with, is it Napa or the tool board that you had? Because I think this is an important topic where we talk about, are we educating students on the, like Tom said, the life skills and really the dangers of tool debt coming out of school, and really the risks that, you know, it's nice to have Snap-on tools. It's nice to do all that stuff, but you don't need them. And buddy, I think you guys do a nice job of setting that, you know, kind of setting the tone for that up front.
We absolutely do, and I couldn't agree more with Cindy and Tom, and the transparency and definitely about being that parent. We are. Nowadays, you have more children coming out without a father or without a mother or grandparents raising them, and so we do have to step in and fill that role in many ways. But regarding the tools, Napa is one of our big partners, has been since the conception of the school, and we have exactly what they're going to get at graduation. That comes out as a gift from the school. It's not something they pay for. Comes out. They had the auto and the diesel, and now we've putting together the marine diesel, the HVAC program, and all of that. So they'll be getting the tools for that specific field. And while they're here, we are always open to discussion of a variety of things, of dealing with what about this tool and that tool. And some of our program advisory committee folks have come in. Napa has somebody, and we have a couple others coming in and have done some comparisons in school. They mark off take away all of the logos or anything with the tools, and they cover them up, and they do a competition on how much does it take to break this wrench, or where does this tool wear out. And that was eye-opening. Even a lot of our instructors, they were like, wow, you know, very little difference in the quality of the tools. And there's instructors that will argue back and forth, well, my granddaddy used this is what I do. And that's all good and fun, but we try to educate them on, what do you need to afford right now? You know, don't go in debt. And we have discount cards that we give out for Napa. After their 3rd week in their first term, they get a discount card. They keep that each term. That's renewed for them. And then at the end, when they graduate, they get a permanent, like a plastic card, a hard plastic card that they can keep for lifelong. And it does save them quite a bit over a period of time. Now, let's say that there's just that one shiny tool that they've got to have from another manufacturer. We encourage them, watch the sales. Don't just run right out and buy it in the heat of the moment, to make sure. And we teach those business skills, those skills that are going to help them if they ever decide to want their own business or anything like that. And it's so important to partner with your employers, to partner with folks that are in the industry, that they may not listen to me right away or one of our instructors that's now teaching, but if there's somebody that's running their garage or running a dealership, they're more apt to listen to them. That's why we just continually invite our employers on ground, or we'll take a trip out to a field trip per se, out to their facility to see what they have in their shops.
I learned that lesson early in life. My dad, of course, I grew up in a shop. He had hired a new tech, and he came in with this big Maximizer toolbox or a Snap-on toolbox. It was gigantic, and he had less than like what a basic tool set would be. So like not even like sockets, and he unloaded it from his truck. And then my dad said, "You may as well just load that back up because you're not staying here." And I think we're getting more and more of that, where we need to understand how to prioritize what you need to buy. You don't need to buy everything right off the bat. And
Yep.
The more we can educate these young people, and even the older techs. I mean, I've seen techs that have been in the industry for 20 years still using half their paycheck on tools, and you're like, that's not a great ROI when you start to really look at it and start to look at it from a business standpoint. I do have a question that came in from Josh, and typically we'd hold these to the end, but I actually think this is a really good question for right now, and I'll open it up to the panel. But I'm going to read Josh's question here, but it says, we have a kid that we are sponsoring, helping out with his schooling. He worked for our dealership for 3.5 years in high school. He has been at school for a month and a half now, and he is on the fence about wanting to become a technician now. Is this common in any of your students in your schools? Do they come out of this? Is it a shock phase? He said he's burnt out. He did turn a lot of wrenches for us while in high school on small engines. So interesting question, I thought, from Josh there as it pertains to this panel. I'm going to open it up to any of you.
Jay, we have seen this. We have seen guys coming out of the military, the same thing. They would have a lot of motor pool experience. They'd come in, this is what I want to do. Same thing from high schools. We have some great high schools that have great programs. And we've seen this. And what I have seen done, and with a collective group of our staff and administration, let's redirect that student. Remember, our field, our automotive field, and our diesel is so big. It's like coming in through the bottom of a funnel, and you come out the other side, you got the whole world in front of you. So we've taken a couple of specific students that I know of that are now, they're still staying in school, but I've connected them with dealerships, and one of them's a good friend of ours a little bit south of us here, and they're going to become service writers. Whole different game. They're not spinning wrenches anymore, but they are absolutely a necessity, an essential employee in that field, and that's what we're kind of redirecting. So we've had that. We're blessed with the kind of team here that we think out of the box, sometimes so far out of the box it scares us, but we look beyond the here and now and try to redirect those students and not lose a good student.
That's a good point. I'm getting that core knowledge. I will say I never thought I'd own a recruiting company in my life, but that's what being a crappy technician really turned out. It was this is what I do.
The question
I don't know if you want to expand on that at all, where if you've seen maybe students that are burnt out early as soon as they get out into the workforce, and kind of to address the question that that we had from Josh. Are you seeing that, where maybe a student goes out, gets burnt out, and is a good kid, good student, but then just it's not a right fit?
Well,
I think, I'm sorry, go ahead.
Okay. The one thing I want to kind of make, again, I got a question. First of all, is he burnt out of school, or is he burnt out of being a technician? That's going to be the first question I have. You know, what is he burnt out at wrenching, or actually going to school? I can see going to school, especially in the situations that we're in right now, where we're doing a lot of online stuff, more so than what we've ever done. And a lot of students are just really, they're not online learners, they're hands-on learners, and they want to learn with their hands. So I can see that. But I do agree 100% with Buddy, and we've done that a lot with students that are here, that feel that they're burnt out, they're not they're not as quality of the tech that they feel like they're going to be. But there is essential areas in this industry. This industry is so vast. You know, service advisor is just one area that this particular individual can go in. We can go into parts, we can go into sales. We have a lot of students who actually are great parts personnels. We've got a lot of students who are great salesmen. And why is that? Because they have that knowledge, they have that background that a lot of other people don't have. And they make a good living. Being a recruiter, I mean, is another great opportunity for an individual. I mean, look at where their skills actually are, and we've all had it. We've all had students that come into this program here that, oh, I want to be a technician. I want to be a technician. I want to be a technician. And it's just, as you're working with the student over and over and over, it's like, you know, you do have this gift of gab, but you're not working really well with your hands. But I think, you know, you would be a perfect person to fit this type of a role in this industry. And to have that person not only have the knowledge of the industry, but to fill a service advisor role, a parts role, a sales role, is phenomenal, because they have that background. And, you know, buddy, congratulations for you guys at WyoTech. We do the same thing here. We try to, you know, take them and put them into a different area of our industry, because it is a vast industry.
Cindy, you go ahead.
Yeah, we've done the exact same thing as Tom and Buddy. We've also taken it a step further, as you can imagine. We have created a company called Bloodtradesorg. Please go into our website. We would love to have you there in this website, and it helps us on the recruiting side as well, because if you go in there, you take this behavior analysis, it will point you into the direction of 42 different trades, not just a trade, the automotive diesel, but, you know, again, what is your passion? Where do you want to go with life? And, you know, face it, a lot of these young kids coming out of high school are still trying to figure that out, and maybe they took the quick option of one or the other. But this will actually point them into the direction of different trades. It will put them in touch with the people who have succeeded within those trades. And let's face it, it's all about connections. It's all about relationships. You know, Buddy and I know very well, working within the industry, and Tom as well. You know, I mean, we reach out to try to create those partnerships to help our schools grow. And these guys have to do the same. So if you look at the opportunities of reaching children in grade school, in middle school, where's their passion? What do they want to do? Lovetrades.org will actually literally look at their behaviors at a very early age and then point them in a direction of their interest. Because let's face it, maybe they got into wrenching and that wasn't their interest, and service writer is where they needed to be or whatever, but they just didn't know that at the time. So I welcome you to visit our website.
They profiled me for that, Cindy, and it turns out that they could have told me a long time ago that I wasn't going to be a good tech. So it should have been around 20 years ago. I would have been in much better shape.
Oh, hey, I did mine and it said a violinist. So although it fits.
But you kind of, you're into music, so that's, you probably nailed it.
Yep.
All right, so let's talk further about industry. And we're actually getting close on running up on our time again, but I do want to talk about industry here real quick. One of the concerns that I have, and I think I share this concern with you, is getting industry involved when they don't need something, right? So when I say when they don't need something, when they don't need a tech, or they're not, and granted, most everybody needs a tech all the time, but it feels like I've been on those conversations, especially with you, Tom, where you're talking with a shop, and the only time that shop really interacts with you is when they're looking, like when they need something, right? And I want to talk about how do we really engage them further so that we have more productive conversations where we get more involvement from the shops that we are associated with.
Jay, yeah, you and I have talked about this several times, and you know, one of the topics that we had actually talked about earlier was recruitment. And you know, Cindy and Buddy, both of you said, you know, recruitment is the key. Recruitment is the key. You know, what in one of the big things that I would love to have with all of our industry partners is, you're right, when they need somebody, they come to us. They recruit from us, but help yourselves, help our industry, recruit for me. You know, recruit for the technical colleges. Yes, it's going to be a 2-year investment, or, you know, for like Cindy's case over here, a 9-month investment, but it's going to be an investment into our industry. Because, you know, if you're going out to the high schools, if you're going out to the job fairs, if you're going out to the military recruiting areas and bringing these students into the technical college, if you can work directly with technical colleges, like I said, we've got 75 partners, not all of them are as active as some, but help us by going out there and recruiting these particular individuals. Now, we're a state-funded school, so when we go out and recruit, we can't just recruit for our program. Just the diesel instructors go out and recruit for our program. You know, our main recruiters recruit for the college. And so we've got 175 different programs here at the college. So it's hard to focus on, you know, 1 or 2 programs like this. So a lot of us instructors, we spend a lot of time outside of the classroom going in and doing our recruiting just to bring our students in here. So bringing industry along to say, hey, yeah, this is very important, or have industry be involved in the high school recruiting phase, and bringing them and say, hey, to get into this industry, here's what we want you to do. We want you to partner up with this technical college. While you're going to this technical college, we will give you a part-time job and have you work during this, you know, while you're here at high school, so you can aid in your education and bring you on and get you that degree out of a technical college, and have some type of a base plan of saying, if you graduate and you stay with us, boom, 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 here's your growth pattern. And we can kind of guarantee, if you are growing the way that we anticipate you to grow, here's where you can be in a year, here's where you can be in 2 years, 5 years. So have some type of a plan on there. But again, come back and industry, help us recruit into our programs.
Yeah, and I think this is common to what Cindy and Buddy and I talked about yesterday too, and Paul from MATC, we had him on yesterday. I think this conversation can go a lot more in depth. Obviously, we knew that was going to be the case with how short these sessions are. We are up on our time, but I want to encourage people to do what both, all three, Cindy, Buddy, and Tom are talking about. And the more we can get industry involved and talking and encouraging you to talk when you don't need something, but really just genuinely trying to help out, trying to help the industry, I think they'd be welcoming with open arms for that kind of help. And Cindy, you brought it up yesterday, and I thought it was a great point that it's not like one tech school versus another tech school. It's that we need to fill all of these seats to solve this problem, right? Mm-hmm. All of these tech schools need to have the seats filled. And Cindy, I'll let you kind of to finish things off here.
Well, if you think about it, we're all building new shops to do more education. And when you think about the cost of building those shops to be able to train the new technician, if you would partner with a trade school, albeit whatever trade school you chose to, your investment would not have to be that intense, and you would see a rate of return from that partnership. So I'm not saying don't go build your $10 million shop. I get it. I understand the problem, but we're recreating a wheel for a wheel that is already in motion. We've got one amazing instructor here today, Tom, and Buddy as a career services guy, and me as your industry person, all related to different schools. And all of us are looking for that opportunity to talk to the decision makers within the companies to be able to get the ball rolling. So as much as we all have a lot of great ideas, let's just partner more and let's help each other out more. And I think we'll see this solution come before itself naturally and better and more efficiently.
Yeah, and that's what today's all about, right? We want to start the conversation between everybody involved, and getting the tech schools to be a key part of this discussion is going to be super, super important as we move forward. So hopefully you guys will join us for another roundtable here as we kind of continue the discussion. But I really enjoyed our conversation. I really look up to what you guys are doing and know that, you know, the rest of the industry is looking at you guys as really building the foundation for what we're doing for the next, you know, decade. So appreciate all your efforts. Appreciate you being on today. And thank you so much.
Thank you so
Thanks,
much
Jay.
for having us.
Yep. Thank you, Jay. Appreciate it. Tom, Cindy, thank y'all so much.
Yep.
Thanks.
Thank you, everybody, Buddy and Cindy. Nice meeting you guys again.